Zach, congrats. This movie's great.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
that.
us, man.
Thank you.
Of course.
I love having you guys out for the junkets.
Man, I can't wait to see it again. So I want to ask you a fun question to start with. If you could say the magic word Shazam and you could turn into anybody ever, fictitious or real, who would you want to turn into?
I don't know. I mean, it would be pretty cool just to turn into Shazam, to be perfectly honest. Because I'm trying to think of like who beats that as far as just like stacked with powers and the ability to do whatever it is I want. I don't know. I honestly I don't often think about wanting to be someone else, and I think maybe that's a lot of the work that I've been doing in therapy of just trying to own me and value me. So I wish I had a better answer for you, but I'm just going to stick to the character that I would turn into.
Well, I'll be honest, that perfectly leads into my next question for you. Your book, Radical Love, you came out with last year, and I love how honest you are about this stuff and open you are about this stuff. And this movie itself, I'm curious, do you find any reflections in what Billy is going through as Shazam, within your own life?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the beginning of the movie starts with him on, presumably a psychiatrist or a therapist's couch. Turns out it's a pediatrician. Because whatever. But that, it really is highlighting this imposter syndrome in him. But we all have that. And I've had a lot of that in my life. And I still have these bouts of it where I was like, what am I doing? And where am I going? And do people even like me or what I'm doing? And all these things. So I think that that's something that's very relatable, not just to me, but to a lot of folks. And ultimately him trying to, figure out how to be the best him that he can be the best leader, be the best son, the best brother, keeping the family together because he's afraid he's going to lose it. And I definitely can relate to a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, amen. It works in the story, and I'm glad it's working for you in your life now.
Yeah.
In a big comic book movie now, in these established universes, it's inevitable as an audience member to be like, well, wouldn't the other superheroes come help with this? Happens in Marvel, happens in DC, happens in Star Wars, every franchise. I love to hear when you're making a film that has like a naturally apocalyptic type stakes at some point. Do you have conversations like, hey, shouldn't somebody come? Like, how do you guys think about those details?
What do you mean?
Like, it's like, well, Philadelphia is under a bubble. Should Superman show up here to help Shazam? Do you think about, like, do you have conversations like, where are the other guys?
Sure. Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, most all that stuff is way above my pay grade.
I know.
But yeah, I'm just showing up and doing the best I can to bring this character to life and trusting the bosses and knowing that there are larger conversations and bigger things that are going on behind the scenes. And but certainly, I mean, listen, I'm a comic book video game nerd. I always have been since I was a little kid, and watch all of the superhero movies. And so I'm always asking questions like that. Wait a minute, if this is going on, where are these other characters? But I think on some level, you've got to practice some suspension of disbelief. Because you're already watching a bunch of superheroes.
It's a Shazam movie.
It's a Shazam movie.
No, I'm with you. I'm just curious what those conversations are.
Yeah, totally.
So now, I want Shazam 3, dude. I love the first Shazam movie. I thought this movie was great.
Thank you.
When do those conversations start? I know you guys, there's the reset coming, as they call it. But when do you get to start talking about that?
Yeah, it's kind of a rolling reset, if you will. I mean, it's like, there was a lot of things that were inherited that were already kind of, there was, well before Peter and James even got to the positions they're in right now, there were lots of conversations going on about what's going to move forward and what's not, and how do we, I mean, I'm a very way over here as a part of the we, but how do the powers that be kind of figure out how to chop this up and try to make it work moving forward? And I really do. Listen, I've known Peter now for years because he's my producer on Shazam, and I've known James Gunn for even more years because we have mutual friends and we've played game nights together in LA, and I've been to a Christmas party of his, and almost was Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy, like and James even stumped for me, fought for me when Peter asked him about me. About, hey, what do you think, Zach? Because we're thinking about him for Shazam. And James was like, yes, go get that guy. Like, he could really go crush that. So I feel bullish. I feel good that there's a future for Shazam. Even if they have to rejigger the role and it's another actor or whatever, the character is great. And the character needs to keep going. But other than that, I don't know how it's all gonna come together. I'm just, it's like taking it a day at a time, trusting a day at a time, one step in front of the other, and just trying to continue to work on me to be the best me while I'm doing it.
I love, hey man, I don't know if they still have Shazam without you. I hope it keeps going. I want Shazam.
Well, thanks, man. I want to do it too.
I hope so.
It's way too much
fun.
fun.
Thank you, dude. Always good to see you.
Good to see you too.